It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife. This notion is the foundation of the social dynamics in the small English village of Meryton, where the Bennet family resides. The Bennets, comprised of Mr. and Mrs. Bennet and their 5 daughters, are often the subject of gossip and scrutiny. Mrs. Bennet, a woman of considerable ambition, is particularly eager to see her daughters well married, believing that financial stability is paramount for their future happiness. The arrival of a wealthy bachelor, Mr. Bingley, ignites a flurry of excitement among the local families, especially the Bennets. Mr. Bingley's charm and affable nature make him a desirable match, and Mrs. Bennet is determined to introduce him to her daughters. However, the family's fortunes are complicated by the presence of Mr. Darcy, Mr. Bingley's friend. Darcy's aloof demeanor and perceived arrogance quickly earn him a reputation as a proud man, contrasting sharply with Bingley's warmth. At a local ball, the Bennet sisters have their first encounter with these 2 gentlemen. While Bingley is immediately taken with Jane, the eldest Bennet daughter, Darcy's disdainful remarks about Elizabeth, the second eldest, lead to a swift judgment against him. Elizabeth's initial impression of Darcy is unfavorable, setting the stage for a tumultuous relationship. As the evening unfolds, the social intricacies of class, reputation, and marriage come to the forefront, revealing the complex web of expectations that bind the characters together. The chapter concludes with a sense of anticipation, as the implications of these new relationships promise to shape the lives of the Bennet family and their acquaintances. As the news of Mr. Bingley's arrival spreads through Meryton, the Bennet household buzzes with excitement. Mrs. Bennet, ever the strategist, devises a plan to ensure her daughters make a favorable impression on the wealthy newcomer. Jane, the eldest, is particularly favored for her beauty and gentle disposition. Mrs. Bennet encourages Jane to visit the Bingley residence, hoping to spark a connection that could lead to an engagement. Meanwhile, Elizabeth, the second eldest, finds herself increasingly intrigued by Mr. Darcy despite her initial disdain. His brooding nature and sharp wit contrast with Mr. Bingley's easy charm. Elizabeth's sisters, particularly Lydia and Kitty, are more concerned with the frivolities of social life, eagerly discussing the latest gossip and potential suitors. The contrast between their shallow pursuits and Elizabeth's more discerning nature highlights the varying attitudes towards marriage and relationships within the family. As Jane visits the Bingleys, Elizabeth reflects on the societal pressures surrounding marriage, recognizing that her family's future hinges on the success of her sisters in the marriage market. The chapter emphasizes the importance of first impressions and societal expectations, setting the stage for the unfolding drama of love, pride, and prejudice. Jane's visit to the Bingley residence proves to be a turning point for the Bennet family. She is warmly welcomed by Mr. Bingley and his sisters, who are immediately captivated by her beauty and grace. The interaction between Jane and Bingley is marked by mutual admiration, with Bingley's affable nature drawing Jane out of her shell. However, the presence of Mr. Darcy looms large, and his initial coldness towards Jane raises Elizabeth's concerns. She observes the dynamics at play, noting how Bingley's easygoing demeanor contrasts sharply with Darcy's prideful attitude. Back at home, Mrs. Bennet is ecstatic about Jane's prospects, while Mr. Bennet remains skeptical, teasing his wife about her matchmaking ambitions. Elizabeth, meanwhile, grapples with her growing curiosity about Mr. Darcy. Despite his apparent arrogance, she cannot help but wonder what lies beneath his stoic exterior. The chapter delves into the complexities of attraction and the societal expectations that dictate behavior, highlighting how first impressions can often be misleading. As Jane's relationship with Bingley blossoms, Elizabeth's perceptions of Darcy begin to shift, hinting at the potential for deeper connections amidst the superficiality of societal norms. As the days pass, the social events in Meryton continue to unfold, providing ample opportunity for the Bennet sisters to interact with the Bingleys and Mr. Darcy. Elizabeth finds herself increasingly drawn to the gatherings, where the contrast between Bingley's warmth and Darcy's aloofness becomes more pronounced. During a particularly lively gathering, Elizabeth engages in spirited conversations with her sisters and the Bingley sisters, Caroline and Louisa. The Bingley sisters, while charming, display a hint of condescension towards the Bennets, revealing their own prejudices against those of lower social standing. Elizabeth's wit and intelligence shine through as she navigates these interactions, showcasing her ability to hold her own in the face of social snobbery. Meanwhile, Jane's blossoming romance with Bingley flourishes, providing a glimmer of hope for the Bennet family. However, Elizabeth's growing disdain for Mr. Darcy deepens as she witnesses his dismissive attitude towards her family. The chapter explores themes of class and social hierarchy, emphasizing how these factors shape perceptions and relationships. As Elizabeth begins to question her own judgments, the groundwork is laid for the evolving dynamics between the characters, foreshadowing the conflicts that will arise as pride and prejudice collide. The Bennet family receives an invitation to a grand ball at Netherfield, hosted by Mr. Bingley and his sisters. The excitement in the Bennet household is palpable, with each sister preparing for the event in her own way. Jane, ever the optimist, hopes to see Bingley again, while Lydia and Kitty are more interested in the prospect of dancing and socializing with officers from the nearby regiment. Elizabeth, however, approaches the event with a mix of anticipation and trepidation, particularly regarding Mr. Darcy. At the ball, the atmosphere is electric, filled with laughter and music. Jane and Bingley quickly gravitate towards each other, their chemistry undeniable. Elizabeth observes their interaction with a sense of joy, but her attention is soon drawn to Darcy, who remains detached from the festivities. When Elizabeth is reluctantly paired with Darcy for a dance, she is determined to remain aloof. Their conversation is charged with tension, as Elizabeth challenges Darcy's prideful demeanor. Despite their differences, there is an undeniable spark that leaves Elizabeth both frustrated and intrigued. As the evening unfolds, the complexities of attraction and social expectations come to the forefront, setting the stage for the evolving relationship between Elizabeth and Darcy. The chapter concludes with a sense of anticipation, as Elizabeth begins to question her initial judgments, hinting at the transformative journey ahead. The aftermath of the Netherfield ball leaves Elizabeth with lingering thoughts about Mr. Darcy. While she initially dismissed him as arrogant and proud, she finds herself unable to shake her curiosity about his true character. The next day, the Bennet sisters discuss the ball, with Jane expressing her delight at Bingley's attentiveness. Lydia and Kitty, on the other hand, are enamored with the officers, particularly Wickham, whose charming demeanor captures their attention. Elizabeth listens intently as Wickham recounts his history with Mr. Darcy, painting a picture of Darcy as a cruel and vindictive man. This revelation further fuels Elizabeth's prejudice against Darcy, reinforcing her belief that he is unworthy of her respect. However, as she reflects on her interactions with Darcy, she begins to question the validity of Wickham's claims. The chapter highlights the theme of misinformation and the ease with which perceptions can be shaped by bias and rumor. Elizabeth's internal conflict deepens as she grapples with her growing attraction to Darcy while still holding on to her prejudices. The contrasting perspectives of the characters serve to illustrate the complexities of social relationships and the dangers of jumping to conclusions. As the narrative unfolds, the seeds of misunderstanding and miscommunication are sown, setting the stage for future confrontations and revelations. As the days turn into weeks, the relationships among the characters continue to evolve. Mr. Bingley's affection for Jane deepens, and the two spend more time together, much to Mrs. Bennet's delight. The Bennet household buzzes with excitement as they anticipate the possibility of a match. However, Elizabeth remains preoccupied with her thoughts about Mr. Darcy and the contrasting accounts of his character. When the Bennet sisters receive an invitation to dine at Netherfield, Elizabeth is both eager and apprehensive. During the visit, the atmosphere is lively, with Bingley's easy charm putting everyone at ease. Jane and Bingley share knowing glances, while Darcy's presence is more subdued. Elizabeth engages in conversation with Caroline Bingley, who attempts to undermine her confidence through subtle jabs. Despite this, Elizabeth holds her ground, showcasing her wit and intelligence. As the evening progresses, Darcy's demeanor begins to shift. He is drawn to Elizabeth's spirited nature, challenging his preconceived notions about her family. Their exchanges become increasingly charged, revealing the tension between pride and prejudice. Elizabeth's initial disdain for Darcy begins to waver as she recognizes his complexity. The chapter explores themes of social class and the power dynamics at play, emphasizing how perceptions can shift through direct interaction. As Elizabeth and Darcy navigate their differences, the groundwork for a deeper connection is laid, hinting at the transformative journey that lies ahead. The visit to Netherfield leaves Elizabeth with mixed feelings, particularly regarding Mr. Darcy. While she remains wary of his prideful reputation, she cannot deny the intriguing complexity of his character. As the days pass, Elizabeth's thoughts often drift back to their conversations, prompting her to reassess her judgments. Meanwhile, Jane's relationship with Mr. Bingley flourishes, and the Bennet family is filled with hope for a favorable match. However, the arrival of Mr. Collins, the Bennet family's pompous cousin and heir to their estate, disrupts the tranquility. Mr. Collins is determined to secure a marriage, and he has set his sights on one of the Bennet sisters. His absurdity and self-importance provide comic relief, but his intentions are serious. The family is thrown into a state of confusion, particularly Elizabeth, who is horrified at the thought of marrying someone as ridiculous as Mr. Collins. During his visit, Mr. Collins expresses his admiration for Lady Catherine de Bourgh, his patroness, and shares her opinions on marriage, which he interprets as gospel. The absurdity of his character highlights the societal pressures surrounding marriage, and Elizabeth's refusal to conform to these expectations becomes increasingly evident. As the chapter unfolds, the contrast between Elizabeth's independent spirit and Mr. Collins's obsequiousness serves to emphasize her desire for genuine connection rather than a marriage of convenience. The narrative builds tension as Elizabeth grapples with her feelings towards marriage and the societal expectations that threaten her autonomy. Mr. Collins's proposal to Elizabeth is a moment of both absurdity and tension. During a formal dinner at the Bennet household, he makes his intentions clear, extolling the virtues of marrying him as a means of fulfilling societal expectations. Elizabeth is taken aback, unable to comprehend how someone so self-absorbed could believe she would accept such a proposal. She firmly rejects him, asserting her desire for love and respect in marriage rather than a mere transaction. Mr. Collins, however, is undeterred, believing that a refusal is merely a formality. His persistence highlights the absurdity of societal norms surrounding marriage, where practical considerations often overshadow genuine affection. Meanwhile, the rest of the Bennet family observes the exchange with a mix of amusement and horror. Mrs. Bennet is particularly distraught, lamenting the loss of a potential match, while Jane and the younger sisters support Elizabeth's decision. The chapter serves as a turning point for Elizabeth, reinforcing her commitment to her principles and her desire for an authentic connection. As Mr. Collins continues to press his case, Elizabeth's resolve strengthens, showcasing her independence in a society that often stifles female agency. The narrative underscores the importance of personal choice in the face of societal pressures, setting the stage for Elizabeth's continued journey towards self-discovery and genuine love. After Elizabeth's rejection of Mr. Collins, the atmosphere in the Bennet household shifts. Mr. Collins, still convinced of his superiority, decides to seek a different approach. He turns his attention to Charlotte Lucas, Elizabeth's pragmatic friend, who views marriage as a practical necessity rather than a romantic ideal. Charlotte's acceptance of Mr. Collins's proposal surprises Elizabeth, who cannot fathom why her friend would choose such a union. The contrast between Elizabeth's ideals and Charlotte's practicality highlights the differing views on marriage among women of their time. As Charlotte prepares for her wedding, Elizabeth grapples with her feelings of disappointment and concern for her friend's future. The chapter delves into themes of societal expectations, friendship, and the choices women must make within the confines of their circumstances. Elizabeth's internal conflict deepens as she questions the validity of her own beliefs about love and marriage. Meanwhile, the news of Charlotte's engagement reaches the Bennet household, prompting a mixture of reactions. Mrs. Bennet is relieved that Charlotte has secured a match, while Elizabeth feels a sense of loss for her friend's dreams of a more fulfilling relationship. The narrative emphasizes the complexities of female friendship and the pressures that societal norms impose on women's choices. As Elizabeth reflects on her own desires, the chapter serves as a poignant reminder of the sacrifices women often make in the pursuit of stability and security. As the seasons change, the dynamics between the characters continue to evolve. Elizabeth receives an invitation to visit Charlotte at her new home, now Mrs. Collins. The visit is filled with mixed emotions as Elizabeth navigates her feelings about her friend's marriage. Upon arriving at Hunsford, Elizabeth is struck by the stark contrast between Charlotte's practical home and the romantic ideals she once held. Charlotte appears content in her new role, embracing the comforts of her marriage despite its lack of passion. Elizabeth admires Charlotte's ability to find happiness within her circumstances, yet she cannot help but feel a sense of pity for her friend's choice. During her stay, Elizabeth encounters Lady Catherine de Bourgh, Charlotte's patroness, who embodies the arrogance of the upper class. Lady Catherine's condescending demeanor reinforces Elizabeth's disdain for societal hierarchies. The visit provides Elizabeth with valuable insights into the nature of marriage and the compromises women must make. She reflects on her own desires for love and respect, recognizing the challenges that lie ahead. As Lady Catherine and Darcy make their presence known, the tension between Pride and Prejudice resurfaces. Elizabeth's interactions with Darcy are marked by a mix of defiance and curiosity, hinting at the possibility of a deeper connection amidst their differences. The chapter explores themes of friendship, societal expectations, and the complexities of love, setting the stage for the transformative journey that lies ahead. Upon returning to Longbourn, Elizabeth finds herself increasingly introspective about her feelings towards Mr. Darcy. The visit to Hunsford has sparked a shift in her perceptions, prompting her to reconsider her initial judgments. Meanwhile, news arrives that Mr. Bingley has left Netherfield, leaving Jane heartbroken and the entire Bennet family in disarray. Mrs. Bennet's despair is palpable as she laments the loss of a potential match for Jane. Elizabeth, however, remains steadfast in her belief that true love cannot be forced or manufactured. As she navigates her family's expectations, Elizabeth reflects on her own values regarding love and marriage. The arrival of Mr. Wickham adds another layer of complexity to the narrative. His charming demeanor and flattering attention towards Elizabeth create a distraction from her troubles. However, as Elizabeth learns more about Wickham's past with Darcy, she begins to question his character. The chapter culminates in a confrontation between Elizabeth and Darcy, where their differing perspectives on Pride and Prejudice come to the forefront. Elizabeth challenges Darcy's arrogance, while he struggles to articulate his feelings for her. The tension between them is palpable, hinting at the potential for growth and transformation. As the chapter concludes, Elizabeth's journey of self-discovery continues, setting the stage for the unraveling of misunderstandings and the possibility of genuine connection amidst the complexities of love and societal expectations.